What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Gmia, and today we're going to be talking about this wild game that happened yesterday. And a lot of people didn't see it happening, that the Texans would win this game, but I picked the Texans to win, and I'm going to explain to you why. As soon as we get into the fact that Andy Dalton has no business being on the National Football League's... Listen, this dude should not be on any team, okay? He sucks. Look, let's just put it like this, right? The Bengals could have easily won this game. I don't know how else to explain this, but Andy Dalton has been doing this for years. When you look at the offensive weapons that this man has and how many people were running wide open, and he's throwing the ball into the stadium like the box where the owners are, and dudes are wide open on the field. And I don't understand why is he still out there? People get mad at me when I'm very, very tough on Marvin Lewis. And the reason that I'm tough on Marvin Lewis is he hasn't really... Look, I know that the Bengals didn't go to the playoffs and all that stuff before he was the head coach and all that stuff, and they sucked for a while, and they've been going to the playoffs, regularly. They've always gone to the playoffs. They just don't win the game. You know what I'm saying? But again, I understand that aspect of it. I definitely do. But when you look at what he's doing as a team builder, he's not the guy. Andy Dalton is not the guy. And you know what the problem is? And why a lot of coaches are separated from other coaches, and why, you have the great ones and you have the really, really bad ones, is because of decisions like this. Now, I tweeted during week 1 that Tom Savage should be benched, or they should fire Bill O'Brien or something like that. Or they should get rid of Bill O'Brien if they kept Tom Savage in the game. I know I have no influence on it, but you got to give Bill O'Brien credit because he screwed up the quarterback, casserole anyway by letting Tom Savage start, because according to sources, this dude Deshaun Watson was tearing it up. He was tearing it up in training camp. He was tearing it up in the preseason. There was no reason for them to go with Tom Savage. So Bill O'Brien gets credit, but then he also should be, reprimanded for his ridiculousness for putting out Tom Savage to start with that game. So now let's get to the fact that the biggest thing about this game was Deshaun Watson's run for that touchdown. All right. Now, the stiff arm that he gave that lineman was pretty lit, but then when he just maneuvered himself in there, you knew the game was over at that point, especially after Andy Dalton went down the field and they had to take a field goal because he's such a bum and he wasn't able to finish it. And that's the thing about Andy Dalton. He just can't finish drives. That's the major part about Andy Dalton. He overthrows the ball, or he just throws it up into coverage and A.J. Green saves him or somebody else saves him. He's a very horrible quarterback. The guy, I don't know how, and if you look at his face, you can see he doesn't care. He knows that his days are limited, but he also knows that for some reason Marvin Lewis believes in him. And I think it's kind of a connection that's where they both know that they're terrible at their job. Andy Dalton knows that he sucks at QB, and Marvin Lewis knows he's one of the worst head coaches to ever coach in any sport. So they kind of feed off of each other's ridiculousness, because there is no... I don't know how to explain why this guy is still starting at quarterback for this team. And I feel for the team, because you can't have a guy out there that's not the best case scenario. Listen, anybody else, just put somebody else in there, because this guy's been doing this for years, missing the wide open guys, throwing in the quadruple coverage, doing whatever he wants and just getting away with it. And again, the Bengals are done. The Bengals are done. You start off 0-2 at home, both games, you're done. The Ravens took care of you. Now you're getting taken care of by the Texans with a rookie QB. And he didn't even have a real tight end. I think he had one tight end. All the tight ends were injured. They had 20 people on injury reserve. And you actually lose this? Okay, I'm just letting you know this right now. I don't know how long Marvin Lewis has there, but I can tell you this. They will remain losers while he is there. Now, let's get to Deshaun Watson. You're talking about a guy, I don't know if you guys know who Warwick Dunn is, but Warwick Dunn, he's a big, he has that program where he builds houses, and he was actually one of the families that a house was built for. It's a beautiful story about Deshaun Watson and how he came to, be where he is right now, even going into Clemson and doing all the stuff that he's done. But we're going to talk about him on the NFL field. Now, the reason that I picked them to beat the Bengals, it had nothing to do with these quadratic equations that all these scientists use when they're trying to do, the fantasy duel and all a fan duel and all this stuff. And DraftKings has nothing to do with that formula. I looked at who the quarterback was for the other team. I looked at who the head coach was for the other team. That's it. That's how I bet, bro. People be like, yo, why are you betting like that? That doesn't make any sense. And I tell them all the time, I'm going to be honest with you. When I bet money on games, I win probably 85% of the time. And I don't use any numerical values. I don't use anything else that anybody else is using. I look at who I'm going up against. And if you look at Marvin Lewis's face and you look at Andy Dalton's face, why would you ever bet them? That's my, you know what I'm saying? Like today, I was like, yo, after the game was over and J.J. Watt was like, I had enough of this and smashed that guy, like, you know, the actual still that I had to start the video off, I just smiled, bro. Because you have to be a fool to think that this dude, Andy Dalton, is just going to wake up and beat what was the #1 defense last year just because they're home. And I'm looking at these guys like, yeah, I'm going to go with the Bengals because they're at home and there's no way they could start off 0-2. Are you serious? Have you seen their head coach over the last couple of years? And this is what the problem is. People try to avoid realism. They try to avoid the fact that what is happening is actually happening. The Bengals are screwed as long as Marvin Lewis is the coach and Andy Dalton is the quarterback. They both have to be fired simultaneously for anything to happen there. You know, like, people need to understand it. And look, you got a guy in J.J. Watt. The dude's bone was through his finger like a week ago. He's out there just disrupting every play. He didn't have a sack. Disrupted. You got Jadeveon Clowney running like he's Barry Sanders after a fumble. You know, listen, the Texans defense is for real. And I'm telling you this right now. I don't like to go back and talk about things that coulda, shoulda, woulda, and all that stuff like that. But just imagine if Osweiler wasn't in for the Texans last year when they played the Patriots and Deshaun Watson played. Now, the Patriots could possibly win, yeah, whatever, but it wouldn't have been the same thing. We all know Osweiler is the biggest bum next to Andy Dalton, bro. Like, I don't know how these guys get away with what they do, but it's kudos to them because they're getting paid. You have to realize this. Andy Dalton just got paid yesterday for something that a toddler could do. A toddler could go out there and throw incompletions with wide open passes, just drop on the ground and do everything that doesn't make sense. A toddler could do that too. Understand the privileges that this man is being allotted with, where there's so many hungry guys. We look at these series where the guy's trying to fight to get to the NFL and stuff like that. All these guys, you're telling me that none of those guys are better than Andy Dalton? Any of them. I don't care. A high schooler. Andy Dalton sucks. We have to come to the realization, right, that the fans that pay their money to watch these teams play, it's not fair to them. It's not fair to put guys out there like Andy Dalton. It's not fair to put guys out there like Brock Osweiler. I'm not a Houston Texans fan, but I could just imagine how they felt having Osweiler out there, bro, in a game where they had the Patriots because the defense was playing very, very well. Just think about that for a second. The fans put so much into this, and then you put guys out there like this guy, Andy Dalton. How and why? And I understand a lot of these teams don't want to win. A lot of these teams just want to be in the running. It's all about the money. Come on, man. You guys got to you guys got to be looking in training camp and see, yo, what is this guy doing? You have to, there's no excuse. And that's what I'm saying. Look, if I'm the head coach, right? If I'm coaching the Bengals, I have to make the best decision for my team. If I don't have that guy, I have to find somebody that I can at least groom and develop instead of staying with someone where I know the result. I know the result of Andy Dalton. It equals an L. So why would I keep doing that? It's not fair to the fans. It's just not fair. It's not good for the NFL. It's not good for the fans. And it's not good. Nobody wants to watch this garbage. How do you put a guy... Andy Dalton missed wide open receivers all night. And not once did we see a reaction from Marvin Lewis where it's like, you know what? Let's take this guy out. Because you're not going to lose anything by benching him. The sky's the limit once you bench this guy. All in all, it was a defensive struggle for both sides of the ball. Deshaun Watson was the difference in it. J.J. Watt sealed it, but it's not all about J.J. Watt and what he did. It's about the whole defense, and everybody made plays. And when you think about who they were playing against, if the running game didn't do the job, it was a definite W for the Texans. Because Andy Dalton is not going to beat you, bro. He's not going to beat you. This guy sucks. I don't know what else to say about this guy, man. He is such a horrible quarterback. All I can tell you is this. The Bengals are not making the playoffs. Marvin Lewis better be fired before this video ends. And Andy Dalton just needs to be released. It's as simple as that. It's nothing. I was disgusted watching this guy play. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the Bengals fans were too. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the recaps. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. I'm going to see you guys soon. Sunday's almost here. One love.